Okay guys, so we're almost there now. What I'm going to do is I want to work just on the head for this one. I'm going to do the eyebrows, and then I want to do a little bit of the hairline. So to update you on what I have left to do, what I'm going to have left to do is I'm going to do the eyebrows, the hairline, then I'm going to do the lips, darken the lips again, and then I'm going to do like a 3D texture, like a matte varnish type finish that will be colored as well. So it'll just give that last tone to it. So let's get on to the eyebrows. So when you're going to the eyebrows, you can use the paint like that's brow brown, or well, you'll definitely be using a brow brown, or even you could use Mars black if you want your hair to be really dark. My customer has asked for thick black hair in the end, but for the brows and the hairline I'm going to just use it as a brown. And I'm going to see how that goes and see if I'm happy with it. Of course I can add a little bit of black. You do need a little bit of definition in your color, especially when you're using brow, so I probably will use a little bit of black as well. So let's just get started, but first I'm going to just work with the Prismacolor pencil. I really love working with the pencils. They're really great. The line is nice and easy to do. It's just what I have been starting to get used to, and I'm really recommending it. But you will see me I'll use some script liner with black paint as we go. So with this, I might bring you in close again. So let me just get you in close. Okay, so we've got him up nice and close now. So I'm going to do the brows. Once again, please bear with me guys, because I'm working on a funny angle here. Because he's ethnic and he is a boy, I'm going to go for a bit of a thicker brow. But what I'm going to start to do first is work on a brow line. Hopefully my pencil is sharp enough. I know the end looks a little bit blunt there, but I do find these sometimes a little bit hard to sharpen, so I'm just going to work with it as it is. So I'm just going to think of the line. The line I like for this guy is where you can see I've got this darkening here. I'm going to go just above that brow bump there. So just here is how I'm going to go, I think. But once again, I can rub it off if I think it's too low. So I'm just first going to do just a little bit of a marker. And this isn't marking very well. Okay, so you do have to, like with this level of unfully sharpened, you do have to press a little bit harder and back and forwards. But you're still trying to keep a nice fine line there. So as you can see, it's very, very light. This actually isn't coming on very easily as it has other times. So I'm just going to use this as a nice undertone, and I'm definitely going to add on top. So you can see how I'm going there, what I'm trying to achieve. It's not necessarily coming out for me great this time. But I'm still gonna, like I said, it's still going to be a part of this, so I'm just going to make it an undertone. So since it isn't coming out fantastic, let's go on to my paints. Okay, so with the paint, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a thinning medium again, and I'm going to get my black. Now I've also got burnt umber, so it's not all going to be like one tone black. I'm just going to get about once again about a size of a pea. Just put that on the edge there. And I'm gonna get my black. And just mix it in there. Now I want it to be a bit thicker, so I don't want it to be exactly translucent. So get in there with a good amount of black. Probably if you're using a lip brush, I would probably go for just start with one side and see how that goes first. So as you can see, we can see the black there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just try a little tester on my hairline. So I'm going to use the longer script brush that I have and just put it in the solution so it's nice and covered my brush. And then I'm just going to do a little sideline here, flowing, trying to ground your hand, maybe on his chin, ground it as best as you can. You can see the few marks there. So when you're doing hair, it's really about getting a very fine line. Now I'm just doing this around the edges of his hairline because I'm not painting his whole hair. I just want to get that look of fine lines around the forehead and around the ear. So as long as it's nice and fine, just flow it through. And it's nice to double over the line. So if you bring the line in onto another line, it then forms an effect of thicker hair within that line that's brought together. There's a bit of a thick one there. You can just run your nail through it to thin it out. Okay, so I'm just going to stop talking and I'm just going to do the other side so you guys can just watch. Now I'm not too worried, as you can see up at that top one, it looks a little bit thick. I'm not too worried about that because that's actually going to be under my hairline. If that was towards the end here, I would definitely be like removing it. So you can see that. Just the best you can, use the utter end tip of your brush. And bring the hairs together. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of the brow there. So just, you can see where my line of my pencil's gone. So I'm going to work over that again. Hopefully everyone can see what I'm doing. Just keep it fine, guys. This once again is going to be a little bit of a guide. Just use the tippy of your brush and do a soft flow. Don't be hard on your brush, otherwise you'll get thick lines and it won't look realistic at all. Don't have a lot of paint on your brush. If any, have less and just add more as you go. So you can see that. You can see how he's got a little brow there now. Now I'm thinking that one is going a little bit down too much at this end. I'm not liking that, so I'm going to just bounce that off. That's fine to do that. And I'm going to bring it up a little bit more. I want him to have a bit up, his brows to be a little bit more up. Now the shape of it, the thickness, shape, I can add to that. As you can see, I'm adding there. Make them a bit thicker, but I still want them to curve down a little bit. So I'm not sure how well you can see that there. But just keep adding to it. I'm going to start on the other side. When I'm working on the other side, I generally go upside down, which sometimes can be really annoying and weird, but it generally works for me. Now when we talk about doing brows and that hairline, you probably see I'm sort of rubbing my hand on it a little bit. It's just really about layering. So you don't just do one line of brow like this and say that's it. You need to do, well, you don't need to, actually, it's up to you, but I like to do a few layers, a few colors, so it gives it definition and makes it look like it's actually a real brow. Okay, so we need them to be approximately the same. So you can sometimes do that by holding your brush like this to see where they start. And you'll see with that one, if I do that, the one over here is a little bit slightly too down here. So I'm just going to knock some of that out. And that looks a bit better there. Upside down brows. Okay. So just layering again. I'm happy with that as a starter. Then what I want to do is I'm going to bring the top down. I know I'm not really talking in great words here, but what I mean is I'm going to start from the, now you saw I was working upwards that way, up, up, up. Now I'm going to come down, down, down to the middle. So hopefully everyone can see it really well. Start from the top, work to the center. And start to form that center line like the hair is meeting in the middle and being combed together. Sorry if my hair's in the way, guys. Hopefully everyone can see that really well. From my angle, it looks really good. Now, once again, hard to work on the other side, but I'm going to do it down like this. Don't you hate it? Look at that. Don't you hate it when you're working on one side and it comes out better than the other? My other side come out better than this, obviously, because I'm working in an odd position. That looks like hashtags. What I need to do, I'm just going to get my little sponge. Where are you, sponge? Here you are. I'm just going to sponge that out a little bit so it's not so harsh on the lines. And I can make it work. Sometimes you might have too much paint on your brush, so make sure you don't have too much paint on your brush. I want to get those lines right to the end. Okay, so his brows are looking pretty good, but what, as I said, I'm going to keep adding to that. I'm going to do some burnt umber on that color, and I'm going to do some more of the hairline. So I'm just going to do that for a few minutes. I'm going to probably speed it up as I go, but just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, if you're wondering about my brush, now these are those cheap brushes that I sell. They're only like $2 each. The benefit of them is that the end, the script line of it is just so long. So when I'm working with it, it really flows. You can see where I'm coming, where I'm looking at going with that hairline there. and with our eyebrow line. I'm sorry that it's really hugely not focusing in, but it does look good from this angle. So what I want you guys to do now is I'm going to add a little bit more black to my mix, just to thicken it up, to make it black. And then I'm going to go over it all again. And then after I do the black, I'm going to do a burnt umber, and I might even do a finer, maybe a Flesh 02 or a Flesh 03. So I'll show you how I'm going, but basically I'm just working with the same lines. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update of how I'm going. This has just been after you saw me then doing the black. So you can see where I'm at there. I'm just layering and layering and layering. What I'm doing here is I'm actually bringing this a bit closer into the eyebrow. So I'll bring that in, and it's just about layering and then getting that look like it's coming in together, like it's coming in together all on those edges. So you can see that on that top part there, it's coming in together. Now, like I said, my client, my customer, wants their hair to be thick, dark, like black kind of hair. I haven't brought the sides in on this yet. So that's why I'm stopping at just doing a hairline. I haven't continued work with the eyebrows either. But that is why I'm stopping at just the hairline, because this is all going to be thick black. So, but there's no stopping you. If you want to continue through and, work through to the back of the head and do a crown and everything, that is fine. It actually looks really nice under the hair. It can give it definition, especially if you've got thinner hair. It really makes in. Try to do your little fine lines as I've done it in there. But yeah, you don't have to just stop at the hairline. You can work back if you like, and yeah, you'll get there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue. I'm just continuing with my black, but I'm going to work with some burnt umber. Like I said, I'm going to do the dark black over the eyebrows and over this side, bringing this in here towards the eyebrow there. And then I'm going to work with the burnt umber. So I'll show you how I'm going, okay? Okay, update again. So I'm just layering and layering and layering, like I said. Now I'm starting to use the burnt umber color. You can see these lines here. Hopefully you can see them. They're very fine. And then we've got the darkening coming into like a strip here, like a thicker line. So it's basically just about layering and layering and layering and getting thicker. Now I know his eyebrows are so thick, I know that, but his hair on his head is going to be thick as well. So I'm just trying. It's really hard. It's really hard as an artist to approve them and say, yeah, I'm happy with them, especially when it looks like, oh my God, they're so dark. But like I said, he's going to have thick black, dark black or dark brown hair on top. So it will all pan out in the end to look good. So I'm almost finished adding the burnt umber there. I'm just, like I said, it's just all about layering and layering and layering. I mean, if I get a brush now and literally just put a tiny little bit in there, it all adds in it. And it just looks even more like there's real fine baby hairlines there. So like I said, just keep going. If you get to this stage and you think, hey, I'm done, I'm finished, then that's fine. It's up to you. You're making the choice yourself. Don't forget, you need to bake it from time to time for the 8 to 10 minutes. So keep up with that. What I'm going to do after I finish the hair and bake it, I'm going to go on to giving him some darker lips, and then we're going to go on to that full matte finish. Okay, great. Oh look, sorry about the cat food box in the back. People are probably wondering, what the heck has she got a cat food box there? That is actually because the bottom of my camera has broken at the moment, so I cannot sit it on a tripod, so it sits on top of the cat box. So there you get to see some background there. There's my lighting, my daughter's watching TV, so thanks. Okay, so I did all the heat setting on this little guy, and I'm pretty happy with him. He looks kind of cute. His hair has turned out really nice. Well, his hairline, I should say. And I'm happy with that. So I'm going to do his lips now, and then I'm going to do the full matte finish, like I said. And you know, we will talk about if we need any extras done to it along the way. But what I'm going to start with is I've just got my lip brush. I'll bring this a little bit closer so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Hopefully I didn't press anything on the camera then. Too much? I think I just zoomed in, didn't I? No? I did. Okay. So little guy here. I might actually put this on the ground. Okay, that might be a bit better. So you can see him there. Okay, so we're going to work on his lips. So what I'm going to do is get the thinning medium again. Now I wanted to talk about the thinning medium when I was doing the hair. That will give it a kind of texture as well. I know you guys can't see it. You can probably tell by all the lines. I can feel all of those little lines. So the thinning medium gives it a texture, which is good. But what we're going to do now is we're going to do a pea-sized amount again of the thinning medium. And then I'm going to do a brush of the red 02. So don't forget, a brush was swiped on either side of your brush, and just mix it around. So as you can see, that's just the Pyrrole Red 02, nice and red colour there. Then I'm just gonna clear off as much of the red off the brush as I can, and then I've just got Mars Black. So I'm just going to start with probably got a little bit too much there. I'd really like just a quarter, like half of one side. So mix that in. Now don't forget, when it comes to lips, you can use any color you actually like. So if you've got one of the lip colors in the peach, strawberry, vintage blossom or rose range, you can use that. If you've got the ethnic lip nail and blush, if you've got the general lip nail and blush, you can use anything you want, okay? As long as it's the lip color that you want. This color I always just like, especially with the darker skin baby. It's just like a nice maroony red color. And as you can see where the lighter parts are, that's what it's going to come out like. So I've just got my little cosmetic wedge holding up underneath this again, so I'm going to take that away, put that there. Okay, so now what I want to do is get off the excess paint off of my brush, because I just want the general amount of paint, and then just like we did before, paint it on his lips. As you can see. Now, if you want to have brown lips, you know, something more brown, you can do that. If you like more of the red tone, use something like I have here. Sorry if I'm not really showing you what I'm painting there. Just trying to work on it from the right angle, but I want you guys to see it as well. So as you can see, I'm just sort of pushing upwards lightly to get that paint all to the lip line. So you can see that there. And then I need to work down that way to get it to the bottom lip line as well. Okay, so I like that. I don't really need to add anything more to it. The best thing to do for me now is to let it dry and then bake it. And if I feel that it's too red, I can simply then do another layer of a brown tone or anything like that. So when it comes to your ethnic baby, remember, it's what you want your lips to look like. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. It just depends on what finish you want. So I'm going to leave it at that at the moment. See how he's going? He's so cute. And I'm going to, once that dries, I'm going to bake it, and then I'm going to come back here and work with you on the sealing of all that paintwork. Okay, good. Keep going, guys. Okay, so I think it is time to start wrapping this baby up. What do you think? So what I'm going to use for this one is 3D texture medium. You can use matte varnish, you can use moist medium glaze, you can there's a few different type of sealers available you can use. Like I said, I'm going to use 3D texture medium. I like the 3D texture medium because I feel like it gives like the skin like a textured feel, and it also seals it at the same time. So I'm going to, okay, so I found Old Faithful. Everyone knows my Faithful. So I'm going to use probably about, let's say 2 peas, like the size of 2 peas there. That should be okay. Oh, a little bit more. You've just got to think that that kind of amount there that you see, it needs to sort of spread over the whole kit. That's what I'm wanting with it. Now I'm going to tint that with Flesh 02. You could tint it with the Flesh 03 if you want a bit of a lighter look. I'm still going to try to make a translucent tinge here. As you can see, that's like very translucent, like it's just sort of like tinting it. The main thing I need to know is that I'm making the right quantity. I'm going to add a little bit extra because I really don't want to run out. So I'm going to add like another pea size. So obviously if you're finishing off with a few kits here, you'll really need to think about how much you need to add. So that you've got enough. You don't have to use the tinting, by the way. If you just want to use the 3D texture as is, if you're happy with the colouring on the kit, or if you want to do the tinting as a paint level and then just do the 3D texture as just 3D texture, you can do that too. So what we do now is we have a sponge. I'm going to pull it a little bit closer, guys, so you can just see how I work actually. And I've just got my sponge. You can rip the end off it if you want, but I'm not going to with this. I'm just going to wipe it straight on there like that, and then I'm just going to pounce it on, but pounce it out at the same time. So we really want to make sure it's going on as an equal layer. So this has to be pounced over the entire kit, okay? So I'm actually happy with the levels of blushing I have in the hand there. I only have a very fine blushing to it. I didn't want to get in there with anything too red. Number one, as we know, a lot of ethnic babies, it's just a lighter tone they've got on their palms. So I didn't want to emphasize anything too much. So like I said, just go over the whole entire kit, giving it a nice even layer. Spread out everything you're doing. And then once you are completely finished adding that layer over the entire kit, that's when you will bake. Now I have heard of people doing a few bakes. They to make the sealer, make sure the sealer has worked properly. So they'll bake it for the 8 to 10 minutes. They'll let it cool and then they'll bake it again. So I'm going to do that just so I can reinforce the sealing of it and make sure it is 100% sealed. You won't notice much in this layer. Of course, I've got a tint to it, so it's going to be a teeny tiny bit darker, but that's all. And then that's it. If you want, like I said, if you want to add any more blushing anywhere, it's the time to do it before doing the matte varnish or the 3D texture like I'm doing. But basically, that's it. Then we can start on the hair. So just like, I'll just say again, with this varnish layer, you're just making sure that when you're putting it on, that you are smoothing it out, you're making sure that it's all even. It's really important to have it all even, okay? So that's what you need to do. Do your arms, do your legs, seal it. I will just quickly show you again once I've sealed it in one moment. Okay, so I'm just working on the head now with the matte varnish, which this is the 3D texture that I'm working on. I just wanted to let you know that the amount I made before only did the 4 limbs. So I remade another batch to do on the head. And I just wanted to let you know, when it gets to doing the head, I'm not actually going to seal this part of the hair. And why I'm not going to do that is because if you've ever sealed your baby with matte varnish and then you find afterwards that when you're rooting the hair, it leaves like little white dots where the needle goes into the hair. So that's because the matte varnish is there and it sort of breaks or cracks when we put our needle in. So I'm just going to do it around the edge of the hair for this one. I'm not going to actually do it in the hairline, so that'll be fine. And just going to pounce over all of the main spots, all over the hair that I've already done, in the ears, around the bottom of the neck, around the front of the neck, the lips, everything. That's where I'm going to be working on with this one, sealing it off, and then I'm going to bake it to do the final seal. I also wanted to then talk about if you wanted to add any extras into the end of your kit. Some people like to do maybe a scratch on the head or a birthmark or a point of like you know how they have a bit of bruising on the head or something like that. I often like to add in an injection point around the heel of the foot. I don't know what you guys or everyone calls it all over the world, but in Australia, when a baby is born, they get a heel prick, which is a test. I think it's a vitamin K test or something like that. So they get a little prick on their heel to get some blood, and that gets tested. So I always like to do a little injection point. So once I have done all this, I will show you how I do that, just for something fun you might like to add on to the end of your kit. So almost done this, and then I will show you how that goes. Okay, so I just want to show you how I do my little heel prick test. So I'll bring the camera down so you can see again. So here we've got the base of my little baby's foot. As you can see, you've got the shading in for the red and the bluing, all the veins and everything. Okay, so what I just use is I use my red O2, and I literally just get the end of like a rooting needle and I just pop it into the colour, and I literally almost inject it, but I just do like a little speck on the end, little speck. You can hardly see it there, just a tiny speck. And I just sort of pounce around it, just like I'm doing a little bit of colour. So it makes like a little sort of injection point, like a little bit of red around it. So just pouncing on there ever so lightly, almost like I'm doing a little tattoo. I can hardly see it myself. And once I've got that little red mark there, I make sure again I have enough on the end of my needle, and I poke just one dot there. The one dot, so it sort of tends to stand out a little bit. I don't know if you can just see that there. And that's it. And then I put like a little tiny baby band-aid over it, like the tiniest band-aid, like they've just had their little injection. It's just so cute. So you just got to make sure around the injection point that it's a little bit red. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can definitely see that there's a little injection there. Okay, so that's basically it when we're coming to the end of our painting now. Now, like I said, you can add anything you want. You can add a scratch on the face or on the hand. You can add any kind of markings, birthmarks, anything you like. With the eyebrows and the hair, especially with the 3D texture, you can texture it up even more. I've done the 2 heat layers on the 3D varnish, but you can put another layer of the 3D texture over again, because the more layers you put on top of each other, it just textures it up to make that textured skin feel. So I'm happy with it now. I'm all done. You obviously see a picture. I'll put the picture at the end of this video, but I'll also put it as the thumbnail so you'll see it all together. And basically then we're going to start on the hair. With the glossing of the lips and the nails and that, I don't do that until I'm completely finished the hair. So the next video I'll be coming out with, which it will definitely be the start of the hair. So good luck, guys. I hope you go really well with that video, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye.